Eidgah. Today is the 30th day of Ramadan. What a pleasant morning it is. The trees are full of green leaves. The fields are beautiful. The sky is red and good to look at. The sun is bright but very soothing, as if the sun also was welcoming the day with open arms. The whole village is thrilled. All are getting ready to go to the Eidgah. Someone has no buttons in his kurta, so he runs to the neighbor for needle and thread. Some find his shoes tight and runs to oil them. Bulls should be fed soon. It will be noon by the time they return from Eidgah. They have to walk for at least 3 miles, and then on way one has to meet so many people. It is impossible to return before noon. The boys are very happy. Some observed fast for a single day, and that too only till the afternoon. Some did not have even that. But going to Eidgah is a part of their duty. Fasting is for the elder ones, but for them it is Eid. Every day they thought of nothing else but Eid and the enjoyment it brings with it. Now they are in great hurry to reach there. What have they to do with household problems? Milk or sugar is at home or not, they are not concerned with that. All they want is sevaiyas. It is for the elders to serve them to their full. They hardly know that father is running to Chaudhry to please him. If he is not kept in good spirit, Eid will turn into Muharram. They themselves have their pockets full. Repeatedly they count their money. Mahmood counts. 1, 2, 3, 10, 12. He has 12 paise with him. Mohsin has 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 15 paise. They would buy a lot of things with all that money. Toys, sweets, bugle, wall, etc. Most of all, Hamid is happy. He is 4 to 5 years of age, a poor chap, weak in constitution. His father died a year ago of cholera, and mother died slowly and gradually. Who would listen to her even if she said something? Nobody knew what she was suffering from. She would accept all that she had to face, but she did not speak a word to anybody, and when it became intolerable, she passed away. Hamid now sleeps in his grandmother's arms and is very happy. His father has gone to earn, he is told. He will bring a lot of things. Ammijan has gone to God, and from there she will bring many good things. That is why Hamid was so happy. Hope is a big thing, and that too a child's hope. Children always build castles in the air. Hamid has no shoes in his feet. He has an old and torn cap on his head, the Gota Kinari of which is gone. But he is still happy. When his father will bring bags full of money, and Ammijan will bring a lot of love and caring, he will fulfill all his wishes. Then Hamid will see how Mohsin, Noore, and Shami get so much money from. Unlucky Amina is sitting in her small room and weeping. Had Abid been here today, would they have celebrated Eid in such a way? It is Eid today, and there is not even a grain in the house. She was feeling very sad to see all that. Who had invented this stupid festival of Eid? It has no meaning in her house. But Hamid, he is hardly bothered about anything. One may live or die, it hardly matters to him. He has light inside and outside. He has hopes. Let problems come with their full force. Hamid, happiness overcomes everything in no time. Hamid would go in and tell his grandmother, "Do not be afraid, Amma. I shall be the first one to come. Do not fear at all." Amina's heart is full of grief. All the children will go along with their fathers, but for Hamid, Amina was the father. How can she allow him to go alone to the fair? What will she do if the child gets lost in the crowd? No, Amina will not let him go. No, he is so small. How will he walk so many miles? His feet will be full of blisters, for he has no shoes even. She will pick him up every now and then. But who will cook sevaiya here at home? If she had money, she could buy everything on her way back and cook at once on her return. She will have to spend hours to collect all the things. The other day she had stitched Fahim's clothes for which she got 8 annas that she has saved for Eid. But yesterday only the milkwoman was after her. So what could she do? At least she had to buy milk for Hamid for 2 paise. Now she is left with only 2 annas. 3 paise in Hamid's pocket and 5 in Amina's purse. This she had all on Eid festival. Allah alone will help. The washerwoman Nadine, the sweepers and the Bengal mail, all will come. Everyone will ask for sevaiya. No one accepts less quantity. Whom will she avoid? Why should there be this annual festival? The fair from the village moved on, and with them was Hamid going also. There was a race between all. Those who went forward would rest in the retreat and wait for the others to come and join them. Why walk so slow? Hamid is almost flying. Can he ever be tired? The city has been reached. The road was covered with beautiful gardens on both sides, which belong to the rich. They are behind the fence. Trees have fruits like mangoes and lychee. Sometimes, some boy aims at mangoes and the gardener comes out and amuses them. But boys are beyond his reach and laughing that they made a fool of the gardener. One could see huge building. This is a court, that is college, and that is club. How many must be studying in such a big college? Not all are boys. They're elderly people. They're still studying. Nobody knows how long will they go on studying and what will they do by studying so much. In Hamid's school, there are 2-3 grown-up boys. They are duffers. They get beating every day for shirking work. This place must be having men like that. Magic shows are being held at the club. It is heard that the skulls of the dead run around. Besides, there are other big shows. But nobody is allowed to get in. Only rich men play games here. Sahibs with big moustaches and main sides. Give racket to our mother, she won't be able to hold it. She would rather fall on the ground. Mahmoud said his mother's hand would start trembling. By God. Mohsin said his mother could grind mounds and mounds of grain, but here her hand would twist by holding a bat. Hundreds of pots full of water she fills every day. At least 5 pots are buffalo drinks. If a madam has to fill even 1 pot, she would not be able to see. Mahmoud, but she could neither run nor jump up and down. Mohsin, she cannot jump, but the other day our cow unchained herself and entered Chaudhry's field. My Amma ran so fast that I could not catch with her. Come, let us go a bit further. And they passed some sweetmeat shops. All those shops were well decorated. Who eats so many sweets? See how full are the shops. We hear that at night jinnats come and buy sweets. My father used to say that at night a man was seen going to each shop and buying the whole lot by paying legal tender. Hamid did not believe. From where can a jinnat get money? Mohsin, how can a jinnat be short of money? They may go to any treasury they like. Not even iron doors can stop them. What do you think? They have even diamonds. Anyone with whom they are pleased, they would give immense riches. They are sitting here now, and within minutes they would reach Calcutta. Hamid again asked, are jinnats very big in size? Mohsin, yes, each head is as big as the sky. If he stands on the ground, his head would touch the sky. But if he wishes, he can enter into a small pot also. Hamid, and how do people please them? If anybody tells me the way, I would surely please him. And Mohsin replied, well, I do not know anything about that, but Chaudhry has empowered the jinnat. If anything is stolen, Chaudhry Sahib would find that out and also name the thief. Jumeirati lost his calf the other day. For 3 days, he was very much worried and went to Chaudhry. He at once told that the calf is in the animal's herd, and he was found there only. Jinnat comes and tells him everything. Now understand why Chaudhry is so rich, and why is he so much regarded. Then they moved further and reached the police line. All the constables do their exercises here only. At night, they move around and do duty. Otherwise, theft would take place anywhere. Mohsin argued, "These Buddhist constables are God?" "No, sir. These very constables help in robbery. All the thieves and robbers in the city are in league with them. They ask the thieves to steal and go to the localities and ask people to keep awake and be alert. This is why they have so much money. My maternal uncle is also a constable at a police station. He earns rupees 20 per month, but sends 50 rupees home. Once I asked him, where did he get so much money from? He laughed and said, Son, God gives. And then he himself said, if we wish we could get lakhs in a single day, but we take only that much that saves us from getting a bad name and our job remains. Hamid asked, if these people help in robbery, then how is it that nobody catches them? Mohsin pitied his simplicity and said, you fool, who will catch them? They are the people who catch others, but God punishes them severely. Easy money goes into gutter. Some time back, our Mamu's house was engulfed in fire. Everything was reduced to ashes. Not even a thing was saved. For days together, they had to sleep under a tree. Then from somewhere, he borrowed ₹100 and bought some necessary things like utensils. Hamid said, 100 is more than 50. What do you talk? 50 rupees can fill only one bag, whereas 100 will need 2 bags. Now the city was quite crowded. People were seen going to the mosque in gaudy clothes. Some were in cars, others on tonga. Most of them had used perfumes whose fragrance was filling air with pleasant smell and were enthusiastic. A group of villagers was also going in their own carefree, patient manner. For children, everything in the city was quite unique. They were so engrossed in staring at things that they wouldn't hear the horns coming from behind. Hamid was saved from a car accident at the nick of time. Soon they saw Eidgah. The shadow of the bunches of imli could be seen on the floor of Eidgah. Down below was the marble floor, which was covered with a beautiful carpet. And the people were seen standing in long queues. Here all are equal. The villagers also prayed, standing in the back row. What a beautiful way of performing namaz. How excellent is the arrangement. Lakhs of head bow down and then stand up together. They again bend and sit on knees. This process is repeated several times, as if lakhs of electricity bulbs are lit and then go off together. And it went on and on. How unique was the common ceremony. The whole exercise of brotherhood filled the heart with pride, respect, and contentment. The namaz over, people embraced each other. And then the sweetmeat and toy shops were filled by customers. The group of villagers was no less enthusiastic like children. See, the Hindola, pay an anna and ride the giant wheel, which will take you up high into the sky and bring you back to earth. Just look at Turkey, the wooden horse, elephant and camels all hung on a log stick. Pay 1 paisa and enjoy 25 rounds. Mahmood, Mohsin, Noora, Sami ride on horses and camels. Hamid is standing far away. He has only 3 paise, and he cannot pay 1/3 of it for just a few rounds. All others get down off the giant wheel. Now they will buy toys. There was a long queue of shops. They are full of beautiful toys. Mahmood buys a soldier with a khaki dress and turban and a gun on shoulders, as if he is about to go for a drill. Mohsin preferred a waterman, with its back bent and a leather sack over it. He looks happy. Noore loves the advocate. How intelligent he looks in black coat, white pants, and the law book in one hand. It seems as if he has just come out after argument in the court. Every toy costs 2 paise. Hamid has only 3 paise. How can he buy pieces? And with a little water, they will lose the entire color. Such toys are useless. Why should he buy them? Mohsin said, my beshti will bring water every day, both morning and evening. Mahmud said, my soldier will guard the house. If a thief comes, he will at once fire with his gun. Noor said, my advocate would fight cases, whereas Shami is proud that her washerwoman will wash the clothes every day. Hamid criticizes toys. They are made of mud only, but he is looking at them with greedy eyes and desire to take them in his hands for some times. But the boys are not so generous, especially when they have newfound interest in anything. It is the turn of sweets now. They are all relishing. But Hamid is away from all. The poor chap has only 3 paise. Why doesn't he buy something to eat? Why should he look at others? Mohsin asked Hamid to buy ravioli. How good they smell. Hamid considers it just a cruel joke. Mohsin is not that generous. He knows. Still he goes to him. Mohsin offers a piece to Hamid. Hamid extends his hand, and Mohsin quickly eats it himself. Mahmud, Noor and Shami clap in love. Hamid feels uneasy. Mohsin says, okay, this time I shall surely give you by God. Come and take it. Hamid answers, keep it. You think I have no money? Shami, oh, you have only 3 paise. What all will you buy from that? Mahmud says, take gulab jamuns from me, Hamid. Mohsin is naughty. Hamid said, sweets are not that important. How many bad things are written in books about sweets? Mohsin said, but in heart you must be wanting to have it. Why don't you buy on your own? Mahmud said, I understand his cleverness. When we finish all our money, he will tease us. After sweets, there were shops of iron goods and artificial jewels. The boys had no interest in them. They all walk ahead. But Hamid stays near a shop. So many chimtas were there. He thought his dadi does not have one. While making chapatis, she usually burn her hands. If he buys a chimta for her, how happy will she be? And then her fingers will also not burn. There will be a useful thing in the house. Toys give you a momentary happiness, and then nobody bothers for them, whereas chimta is useful in many ways. Poor Dadi has no time to go to the market, and where does she get so much? Every day she burns her hands. Hamid's friends went ahead. All were enjoying sherbet. See how greedy they all are. They bought so many sweets but did not give me a bit even. And then they asked me to play with me. Does this work? Now if anybody asks me to do something, I will also say eat sweets. You will yourself suffer one day. You will start stealing money to fulfill desire, and then you will get a good beating at home. Books never give wrong news. Why will I suffer? When I reach home, Dadi will be very happy to see the chimta. She will come running and will take it from me. She'll be very happy. She will bless me. She will show it to her friends, and then the whole village will talk about it. Hamid has brought a chimta for his Dadi. How nice he is. Who will bless them for their toys? The blessing of elders goes straight to God's place and are at once acted upon. I don't have money. That is why Mohsin and Mahmud show me temper. I will also do that. Let them eat sweets and play with toys. I'm poor, but why should I tolerate all this? I don't go and beg from anybody. After all, Abbajan will come someday. Amma will also come then. I will ask these people, then how many toys do you want? I will give a basket full of toys to each one of my friends and show them how to treat your friends. Everyone will laugh that I have bought a chimta. Let them laugh. I don't care. And Hamid asked the shopkeeper how much the chimta cost. The shopkeeper looked at him and seeing that no elder was with him, said, This is not for you. Is it for sale or not? 6 paise. Hamid felt sorry and it broke his heart. Tell me the right price. Correct price is 5 paise. Would you accept 3 paise? Saying so, he walked ahead before the shopkeeper could shout at him. But the shopkeeper did not scold, called him and gave the chimta. Hamid kept it on his shoulders, as if it was a gun with great pride, and walked to join his friends to listen to their criticisms. Mohsen laughed and said, "You fool! Why have you brought this chimta? What will he do with this?" Hamid hit the chimta hard on the ground and said, "Just put your bishti on the ground. Every muscle will break into pieces." Mahmoud said, "Is the chimta a toy?" Hamid said, "Why not? It is a toy. You keep it on shoulder, it becomes a gun. Take it in hand, it is an instrument of the beggars. I can use it as a manjira. One hit of this will break all your toys. Let your toys be best. They cannot harm my chimta a bit. My brave lion chimta." Shami had bought a kanjari. He was very much impressed by it and said, "Will you change this for my kanjari? I bought it for 2 annas." Hamid looked at the kanjari carelessly. "If my chimta wishes, it can tear off the stomach of kanjari." "A little water will spoil it, but my brave chimta can face all the natural calamities without getting hurt." Everyone was quite impressed to see the chimta. But who has the money now? Moreover, they had come far away from the fair. It was already past 9 o'clock. The sun was bright and everyone was in a hurry to reach home. Even if they asked their father, they will not get the chimta. Hamid was very clever, so he saved his money. Now the children were divided into 2 groups. Mahmoud, Mohsin, Shami and Noore on one side and Hamid alone on the other. Mohsin, Mahmoud and Noore, although older than Hamid, got afraid of Hamid's attacks. He has the strength of truth and justice. So he is more powerful. On one side is mud and on the other iron, which calls itself strong. No one can win him. If a lion comes, Mia Bishti will be frightened. The soldier would run away, leaving his gun of mud. Vakil Sahib would run away too. He would be so afraid and he would hid himself in his gown and lie down on the ground. But this chimta, this Rustam-e-Hind, will quickly follow the lion and catch him by the neck, sit on its back and draw out his eyes. Mohsin tried his level best and said in the end, "Okay, but your chimta cannot fill up water." Hamid made the chimta stand straight and said, "If it scolds the bishti, he will at once start sprinkling water." Mohsin lost, but Mahmoud started arguing. "If it is caught, it will have to run around and go to the Vakil." Hamid could not reply to that strong argument. He asked, "Who would come to catch us?" Noore said, "This soldier with gun." Hamid teased him, saying, "What? Will this poor thing catch Rustam-e-Hind? Okay, come, let them have a fight. He will run away as soon as he sees its face." Mohsin thought of yet another attack. "Your chimta will be every day facing fire." He thought Hamid will not be able to reply, but Hamid at once replied, "Only the braves jump in fire. Your bishti, advocate and soldier all will run inside the house like ladies. Only Rustam-e-Hind can jump into the fire." Mahmoud once again argued, "Vakil Sahib will sit on chair and the chimta will be in the kitchen all the time." This argument inspired Noore and Shami also. "What an argument! Excellent. What else the chimta can do except it?" "My chimta will not be in the kitchen when Vakil Sahib will be in the office. It will attack him and put his laws into his belly." That did not carry any sense. It was an abusive language, putting law into the belly, but it carried the day for Hamid. And all of them accepted that Hamid had won. The winner gets honor from the losers. It is but natural, and Hamid also got it. Everyone spent 2 to 3/4 annas but could not buy anything worthwhile, whereas Hamid spent only 3 paise and won. Quite true. What to say about the toys? All will get broken, but the chimta will stay for years together. Terms for reconciliation were being decided. Mohsin said, "Just give your chimta. Let us also see, and you see our bishti." Mahmoud and Noore also gave their toys. Hamid had no objection in agreeing to the terms. Everyone took the chimta in hand, and Hamid took all the toys in his hand. How beautiful were the toys! Hamid wiped off their tears. I was teasing you all. How can this chimta be better than these beautiful toys? It seems they will speak out any moment. But Mohsin's party was not satisfied with those words. The chimta impressed everyone. Mohsin said, for these toys, nobody will praise us. Mahmoud said, you're talking of praise? We might get thrashing for buying toys. Hamid had to agree that no one's mother would be happy as his dadi to see the chimta. He had to do everything in just 3 paise, and there is no need for him to repent at all. A chimta is Rustam-e-Hind, and the king of all the other toys. On the way, Mahmoud felt hungry. His father gave him bananas to eat. Mahmoud shared them only with Hamid. His other friends were just watching. That was all because of the chimta. It was 11 o'clock and there was commotion that the Melewalas had returned. Mohsin's younger sister came running and snatched the bishti from his hands. As she jumped with happiness, the toy fell on the ground and broke into pieces. Both brother and sister started fighting and beating each other. Both wept bitterly. When their mother heard the noise, she got angry and slapped them. Mia Noor's Vakil met his end in a very particular and more respectful way. Vakil could neither sit on the ground nor on the mantelpiece. One had to think of his prestige. So 2 pegs were hanged on wall and a wooden plank was put on them, and then the plank was overridden with paper carpet. And Vakil each tried on it like a king. Noori brought a fan of bamboo and started airing it. God knows how did the Vakil Sahib's statue came down with a stroke and broke into pieces. Everyone mourned the death, and the broken parts were thrown in dustbin. Now left was Mahmoud's Sipahi. He was given the charge to look after the village, but the policeman was not an ordinary man that he should walk on feet. He will ride a palanquin. A basket was brought. Old wages were put into it, and the policeman was made to lie down comfortably. Mahmoud picked up that basket and started moving around his door. Both his younger brothers kept shouting, "Keep awake!" But the lights were not bright. Mahmoud gets knocked down and the basket went off his hands. And there goes the Sipahi. With his gun on the ground he falls, and one of his legs is hurt. Mahmoud today realized that he is a good doctor. He has got the ointment that can set the leg in position. Only he needs Gula's milk. Gula's milk is brought and the leg was set right. But as the Sipahi is made to stand, it again speaks. The operation was unsuccessful and the other leg was also broken, so that the Sipahi could sit comfortably. With one leg he could neither walk nor sit properly. Now the Sipahi has become a sannyasi. Now listen to Hamid's story. As soon Amina heard his voice, she picked him up and kissed him. All of a sudden she saw the chimta in his hand and was shocked. Where was this chimta? I bought it. For how much? For 3 paise. Amina beat her chest. How stupid is this boy? It is almost noon and he did not even eat anything. How come in that big mela all you found was this iron chimta and you bought it? Hamid stood like an accused. You always burnt your fingers while cooking. That is why I bought this. The old woman's anger at once twined into love and affection. The affection not the type to vomit out in words, but fell deep in heart, very solid, full of the brim of love and affection, beyond explanation. How much sacrifice, good thoughts, and intelligence. How much he must have felt, seeing other boys buying toys and eating sweets. How could he tolerate all that? There also he was thinking of his old grandmother. Amina's happiness knew no bounds. And something very peculiar happened then. Stranger than the chimta itself. Child Hamid had played the role of old Hamid. The old woman Amina played the kid. She started crying. She spread her archel and went on blessing Hamid with tears rolling down her cheeks. How could Hamid understand the mystery?